Come on, make in the space between all the things unseen in this reckoning. And I know I will never be alone. I know, come on. And I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminded, how could you have been to me? I'll cut the joy from every battle, 'cause I know I can see the light. And I can see the light in the darkness, as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens, as the space between the west and I can feel the ground shake beneath us, as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us, nothing stands between And even if he
Welcome everyone back to another episode here of Three Men in the Fire. We hope that you guys have had a great week so far and that the day's been good and that you all are blessed. From the three of us, we welcome you in and hope that you guys are ready to enjoy this podcast with us. We've got a great topic that we want to discuss on tonight, and I hope that it will be a blessing to somebody. Our topic, and I was actually in the middle of putting it in chat, is leading through service, the true measure of a man, and what that is and what we've seen in that. So it's going to be something I think that will be a great blessing for all of us. So we hope that you guys are ready to go. Do us a favor before we get started and jump into the topic. If you would, please share, like. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. We go live every week on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if we can get some people in here, that'd be great. All right. So Tommy, I know he's got a lot to say on this. We're going to let him start today with some stuff that he's got jotted down. And feel free throughout the episode here, drop your comments and the questions, or your questions in the comments. I said that backwards. I'm just like that. Drop your questions in the comments and let us know what you guys like us to talk about here or go into if you have any questions. Tommy, go ahead, buddy.
So I was want to touch on a little bit from last week, as far as the self control and self discipline. So I ran into one of those instances this week with a superintendent on a job that I was on. We got in conversation about something, and it was work related, and he went from 0 to 100 on a subject, and made it seem, and the way he was talking, with the way he was coming off, the way he was talking was that his company was here with things, and we were here, and just let me establish that this was his hand gestures while we're talking, and we're here, and so he doesn't care what our excuse is for anything. He doesn't care what the problem is. The job has to get done when they're scheduled to get done. And it became one of those conversations where, all right, hold on, grab yourself, pull yourself
Yes.
together, because
Yep.
do you lose it now? And do you go all the way with this guy? And you take do you take this battle And do you fight it in that way, or do you pull yourself together? Do you draw back, and do you walk away from that conversation and you let this man be here and you be here? And that was fine with me. That was fine with me. And don't get me wrong, I was having one of those days where it could have been a. I'm not gonna say nothing else. I'm gonna stretch my hand across and I'm gonna grab you by your throat. And that was just one of those moods that come across. But in that same manner of feeling that way, it was also running through my mind. You know, this is not even it's not a fight that you need to fight. It's not a battle you need to pick. This is not. You got to pick and choose what battles you're gonna take on and what battles you're gonna go with. And and I told myself at that point, I pulled myself together and said, this is not a battle you have to fight. It started in a conversation, and then this man went from 0 to 100 about how big their company is and how everybody else is down here. And that irritated me, and it does irritate me that people think that way. Um, and it gets to me. So I put my self discipline. So I applied that to my life this week.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
I did. I applied that to my life this week.
He didn't strangle him.
That also takes me to being a leader as a man. That takes me to our topic this week. Is are you out here leading? Are you out here leading just to show somebody else that you're up here? Are you being a leader just because you can be up here above everybody else and make everybody else feel this low? Or are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you trying to be a leader and a servant at the same time? Are you going to put yourself in their shoes along with your shoes? Or are you going to try to stay above them and tread over the water and keep them under? That whole situation brought me, it brought me to thinking about both topics. It took me back there first, and then it brought me here. Why is this guy in the leadership role that he's in? Why is he a superintendent over a job site and talks to his subcontractors in that manner? Do you treat his subcontractors in that manner? Are you out here leading these guys just to show that you're the king? Just to prove, you're the man, and nothing happens without you? Because I can assure you that's wrong. You're wrong in that. There's no one above God, and nothing happens but through him. That's for sure. That's a surety that you can take with you. But for a man to stay here and think that he's above anybody else, it's absolutely insane for me to think that anybody thinks that that's okay. If you're going to be a leader, you have to put yourself in the leadership role and the role you was in before you became that leader. You wasn't a leader all your life. You wasn't born into that role. You took that role on. You was given that role. So you have to walk in both sets of shoes. And if you can't, then you can't be in that position.
Right.
And that's my take on it. But my question. So my question to that was, are leaders born? Are they born with a desire to serve others, or does that come in time?
Well, Joe, go ahead, take a stab. I've got a lot I could say on that, so I want Joe to start.
So I'm right with you, Rick. I've got two things on this. I do have a lot with this in the United States Army.
Okay.
You have people of higher power that think they are up here. Me being lower in Lincoln, I'm down here. And I don't know, quick question back to you, Tommy. Was your guys standing there that worked with you and heard this going on in the background? Were they hearing this guy lower your...
No, but that's a good point that you make right there.
Well, because this is where I'm going to go with this.
It could make a difference. It could make a difference.
Yeah.
So,
in how the whole situation plays out. Yes, go ahead.
I've had guys come in, and it's a military thing. You've got to walk away from it, and you got to not think about it. But I've been called multiple names, and yes, it's a military thing. We deal with it. It's most of the time it's nothing bad. I do it myself because I have guys under me now. If you're in the military, you know what I'm talking about. But I've had guys do that, and my leadership stand behind me and not say nothing. And that's why I asked, was your guys behind you? Because no, I don't want you to disgrade that guy. I don't want you to tell that guy, he's a piece of crap. But look for your guys that are behind you, hearing what's being said. We as lower guys would like, hey, these guys bust their butt every day for you. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes in. Now, deal with this too. What time was it that guy came and talked to you? A rough time. And this is why I'm going to go into. We'll say noon. We'll say it was around noon.
Yeah, I was going to say it was around 11 or noon.
You being the lower guy. That dude just had 50 emails, 50 phone calls, wanting to know why the job wasn't getting done, where the job was, who was doing the job, why isn't this getting done? And he came to you and he took it out on you. Is that right? No. But that doesn't mean it is right. So no, it's not that you're not born a leader. It's you have to have respect for the people that are under you. Don't take your aggression or your problems out on the next person below you.
And as men, we have to understand that too.
Yes.
And look at the situation and assess the situation.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's hard in that particular situation, and especially for what you brought up. With your guys, if my guys was standing there and watching that and hearing him down talk me like that, I could have played. I could have played a different role in that in the end of that. But
because it's also going to make your guys feel good that you stood up for them.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, can you take that and utilize that and still stand your ground in that same position you was before?
Yes.
Like I was before. You could still humble yourself.
Yes.
And though he's being the way he's being, and for whatever reason it is for, even if he's being pressured by his bosses, or if he's being pressured, or if there's just things going on in his life, we have to stop and think about those things when we assess situations, when we come across situations like that, as far as this goes. And it's hard, but we do have to assess those things.
I'm not saying it was right that he came. I mean, it's not right.
No, it's not right, but
he
we should have been stronger.
Yes,
and be the better leader and servant at the same time. I mean, that is right. What our topic is.
You're 100% right. He handled it wrong.
Yes, yeah, and you're 100% right. It's not right. In no way, it's not right to treat nobody like that. And let me say, I've been in situations where, if you know me, if anybody on here knows me, if you've seen me, if you worked with me, I've been in situations where I've had to come down on an employee and discipline them. Okay. But not doing it degradingly, you know what I mean? Not doing it to the point where I'm better than you. I'm up here. I'm your boss. You're my employee. You work for me, and you're just always going to be my footstool and my doormat. That's not how it is. If it's about discipline, it's about discipline. And there's been times that, if there was words said from one party and words said from the other party that collided, and neither party was right in the situation. But at the end of the day, can you humble yourself and come to know and come to know that you were wrong in that situation and admit those wrongs to that person and amend things and make amends for things? That's being a good leader to me. That's being a good leader and a good servant to me. If you can do those things, because we're men, we're flesh, and we're going to mess up. We're going to do things. We're going to fall. We're going to fail at things. But at the end of the day, can you admit your faults in those things and stand up and be the man and lower yourself and be the servant and come together and make amends with those that you've done wrong or that you've wronged in those situations, and be be the brother that they need, and let them be the brother that you need, because you also, for whatever reason, you need something out of that situation as well,
I think
or there
like
wouldn't have been.
on that note, like if it was like something like, okay, we both kind of went off on each other. I stepped back. I was like, whoa, that wasn't right. Yeah, I can come and I can apologize and I can, accept what was wrong there, and I can be the bigger man, if that's what you want to call it. I don't really like using that word, because a man is a man, and it don't matter you, me, next person next to me.
Yeah, there's no bigger. I don't think there's no bigger or better man. It's just I can be the man that I'm called to be. That's to me. I can be the man that I'm called to be.
I've been on job sites where people have been just like you're talking, and I won't speak to them. So am I being the bigger man? Probably not. But I'm not going to. I mean, it was pretty rough. I mean, they were, saying some pretty bad crap, I don't want to speak to you. I'm going to go over here, do my job, and I'm going to go home. My foreman can come and talk to you if you need to talk. Let me know.
Well, silence kills too, I mean, that'll kill them morale too, you don't have to reply to them, even shutting down and just not talking to them. That gives that shows them that you're not going to be into those things.
Yeah, I'm just not going to lower myself to those standards.
I'm not going to fall. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for those things and be part of that.
Correct.
So yeah. It also in that same sense, it also can show somebody too. It can also make somebody feel that, oh, I am inferior, or I am inferior, and I do have power over them, so I can say whatever I want. They're not going to say nothing, and I can degrade them. So that could play out both ways. But if you stick to your guns, on things, you could still be the better person in the situation. You can.
100%. I agree to that. Yes.
Well, Aisha says here in chat that sometimes kindness doesn't matter. Killing them with kindness does not always work either. She said sometimes even though you show kindness with someone who thinks they have power over you, it makes them think of you as weak. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I mean,
to some people
right.
It does. Yeah.
She's right. Kindness doesn't always work.
But you don't want to lower yourself to their standards no matter what.
Exactly. I agree with that.
You're exactly right. Yes.
I could be every name in the book and everything else, but I'm not going to sit there and do the same thing back to you just because you did it to me.
Right.
I'm not going to lower myself to your standards to where my buddy here next to me was like, what? You were just saying like that's, how that guy was, rude, disrespectful, and now you're doing it back? Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, to get back to your question, Tommy, because I just have some stuff that I'd like to throw in on that too, is that are leaders born? To some degree, absolutely. I'll put it this way. You have a lot of athletes that are just naturally skilled, right? They were born with a natural ability to do more. Does that mean that guys who don't have that same level of skill naturally cannot achieve? And that's false as well, right? When we used to coach, me and a good friend of mine, call him a brother, we would coach Little League football. And we would always tell the kids every season, every team, that hard work pays off, or hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that just simply means that if you are willing to put in the effort and the time, you can achieve. Now, with that being said, as it pertains to leadership, there are people that have a heart of a leader. They naturally have leadership abilities. And before I keep saying leadership, or we say it, I want to at least quickly explain. There's a difference between a dictator, a boss, and a leader. A leader is somebody who does show care or concern for the people that they are they're overseers of, right? They don't see themselves as I'm here and you're here. They see it they should. A true leader sees it the opposite way around. That you are here and I'm here to serve and help elevate you. True leaders have a heart for people. Bosses and dictators do not. They care about their status. They care about their power. They care about the authority that they have. So to some degree, there are some people who are born leaders. It's just in their DNA. Others, they can acquire that. They just have to take on that character that I am here to help elevate you, not that you're here to puff me up. So, 100%, man. Leaders are born, but not all leaders are born. There are some that are there to lead. And by leading means you're the first one in the fire. You're the first one. I don't know how many times, I'll say this, on the job, I don't know how many times I know I didn't do something wrong, but because I'm like the foreman on the job, I will go to the boss and tell them, hey, sorry, I noticed this. Somehow this happened, but I never say names. And if I do anything, if I have to say a name, I just say, hey, man, I think maybe I did this. And I will take stuff on myself that I know I didn't do for the sake of my guys. And that gains their respect. And I will trade any day doing that and getting a small little bit of reprimand or whatever to have their respect than I would to destroy the respect of those guys, because when I need them, they're there for me. They have my back.
Yeah, and I've lost a lot of respect for some guys in the military because they don't have that.
Yeah.
As soon as they go south, they're so. Whoa, buddy, you were just here with us 5 minutes ago. What are you doing? What do you mean?
100%. I'm also the first one that will jump up and say, hey, you know, if anybody's coming down on them or even the boss is saying something, I'm like, hey, if this crap is flowing somewhere, it should flow downhill in the way that the hill is put up there. So if you're up here and I'm right here and you see them down here, you bring that to me and then let me talk to my guys.
Yes, and that's how it should flow.
And let it flow down, because I'm going to take it to them a different way. And I'm going to say, hey, guys, you know, maybe we dropped the ball here. Sometimes you got to put down a heavy hand, but most of the time, just showing compassion, showing that you care, and showing that you are there to help them achieve, get you all the respect you need. So true leaders really are born through servanthood.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I will say, I guess, let me throw in while you're looking at that, Tom, to whatever else you want to dive into, to what Aisha said as well. But sometimes it seems like, you know, not being kind or, you know, killing them with kindness. That's not always, I mean, I know that that's one strategy and it does work at times, but that doesn't always work for everybody. But like Joe was saying, like Tommy was saying, was that we don't want to put ourselves out of character, because then the people that we're leaders of, they see us go out of character, and then that can work in detriment to our leadership and the respect that they have for us, because they could always look at that at any point and say, wonder if I did something bad enough if he'd flip on me like that, or if he, you know, would he turn into that person on me, you know? So there are ways to still get your point across without having to sink to their level, as is already stated. So the end of the day, it's always about keeping your character, keeping your composure, and knowing that, you know, not every fight's going to be won, even if you should win it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So would you guys say that being a leader, you should have a form of brotherly love? I mean, the Bible tells us that we should love our brothers as we love ourselves. So wouldn't you say that if you were put in a leadership role, that you should, if you're going to be in that leadership role and accept that you should have a form of brotherly love? And brotherly love is not just for men. Brotherly love is that you love all that are around you, your sister, your brother, whoever it may be, your neighbor. But love them as yourself. Would you guys say that you should have a form of that if you're put in a leadership role and accept that?
So in my job, yes, I agree to it, but it's called hard love. Only because depending on what the situation is, if I'm too soft on you as my guys under me, you may not come home. And you've got to know, if I'm being hard on you, not disgrading you or nothing, but being hard on you, it's more than likely for my job, what I'm doing right now is probably to keep you alive.
Yeah. But
So, it's hard love. It's still love, but it's hard love.
yeah, I was going to say not even a form of love. I'd just say love in general.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have a form of love. You need to actually love and have a sincere care
Yes.
for the people that you are leading. You have to. If you want to be an actual leader, if you want to be a boss or a dictator or somebody that people don't respect and you just want to throw authority around, you don't have to care about them at
Yeah, I
all.
don't-
But if you want to be a true good leader, 100% you have to love them. You have to care about them.
Yeah.
Like Joe said, hard love. I care about your safety. I care about you enough that I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, and I'm going to maybe even tell you in a way you don't like, but I don't care if you don't like it as long as you get home safe.
Yep.
That's the same.
That's my goal every night, is to make sure you're going home to your family.
Same with our kids, right? We're all three dads.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've told my kids, I'm not your friend and I'll never be your friend. Because I'm not here to just pat you on the back and make you feel good. I'm here to do whatever it takes to help you be the best that you can be and make sure that you're safe and that you're a help to society and not a menace.
Exactly. I agree.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And God,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, God does the same with us.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh,
God
yeah.
does the same thing. You know, when we need chastised, He chastises us. There's no, and it's not in question. You know, when it needs to happen, it happens. So, and He's looking for us to come home. You know, to Him in one piece as well. You know, so to speak, Joe. So it's not like you're doing anything, you know, that shouldn't be done. You know, you're loving them in the form that they need to be loved in. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, respecting them and showing leadership.
I still feel bad at times because you get these younger privates that come in, I mean, right out of mom and dad's house, and you yell at them for something because they're pointing their weapon right at you, and you're no, you know, I mean, you have to, and then you'll see their whole demeanor change. It's like, oh, I thought we were friends, but it's not that we're not friends. I mean, just, you know, you got to watch what you're doing, and you can just see it. I mean, I don't know. I kind of lost the train where I thought I was going with that, but
Yeah.
Well, I
at
mean,
the
they
same
have
time-
to. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say at the same time, you know, you have to know that you're doing the right thing for
Yeah.
them and for yourself and for others around you. And then, you know, they're either going to realize that and open their minds and their hearts to that, or they're not, and they're going to stay on the path that they're on, total destruction. You know, not only for themselves but for others around them at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, so
and we've
but
lost people
I
due to that.
understand.
Not like
Yeah.
suicide or anything. Like if they can't adjust to the military life, they will eventually get booted out because it is an adjustment. You have to adjust to military life. So,
Yeah.
and it does happen. So, just like any job, if you can't adjust to you know, my foreman tells me to go do something, I can't do it. Eventually, you're going to get booted. For one, the job's not getting done. For two, you know, you're not listening. And I mean, it comes down to safety. If you're being unsafe, I still love you, but maybe this job just isn't for you.
Right. What was you going to add to that, Rick?
Nothing too much really. I was going to ask, you know, or bring up a point about, because you said, you know, the way God deals with us and stuff, and not everyone even believes in God, and that's fine, you know. To each their own, but it's just funny that how I will say that I've seen people that say they don't believe in God, or maybe they believe in God, but they don't serve Him at all. As soon as something goes wrong, they kind of point the finger at Him and they're like, "Why would you do this to me?" And it's like, I think often to myself, it's like, why is it that you don't do anything for Him, but you're quick to blame Him when something doesn't go right? versus looking at yourself and saying, you know, I wonder if I would have lived my life differently, or if I would be living my life in a better, you know, way, or living it according to his word, that would this be different? Would I be going through this, you know? And those are things that I think a lot of people don't think about.
I've been asked that
Right.
question, like, why is it that, you know, and for some people that it's harder to, like, so I'm still obviously, everybody, we're still learning in the Bible every day. Every day you can learn something new, or you know.
Oh yeah.
So me and my wife, we've been in and out of churches a lot. We finally, you know, we have one that we really like, and you know, currently we're not home, but we will be. But my wife has asked me that same question. Well, why is Jesus doing that? And, you know, I've asked, and what people I think don't realize is he is working miracles on you. It just may not be the ones that you see right then and there. And people don't understand that.
Or the ones that you want, because your will might not be aligned with his will. So
Correct.
his will comes first, and he knows what's good for your life and the purpose he has on your life. So he's working out what he needs and knows he needs to be doing in your life, as opposed to him working out what you want him to do in your life.
Yeah. And
You
some
know,
people are just
so-
like, it's not. What do you mean? It's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying, though, Tommy. That makes sense.
Well, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of things I will say too that you may see it as God cursing you, or God's trying to kill me, or whatever. Well, for one, I will say God's not trying to kill anybody. And he, for one, for two, he doesn't have to try to do anything. He's God. If he wants to do it, he's going to do it. But you know, was it like 2 or 3 weeks ago or whatever, engine blew in our car on the way to church. I could have been mad. I could have been upset. I could have been frustrated. And those are things that do run through your mind. But at the same time, I have to ask myself, what if 2 or 3 more miles down the road, my car was running, I would have been hit and killed, me and my wife, on the way to service.
Yeah.
I'll swap out that engine for me and my wife's lives any day. I don't care. You know,
Absolutely.
you know, who knows what happens. And there are times, I will speak for myself. There have been times where things have happened negatively. I thought were negative at the time, but they turned around and worked for my good, and they helped me. And that's scripture, right? Does it not say in the Bible that he is working all things together for the good of them that love him and are the called according to his purpose? So one thing I will say about being a believer, if you're not a believer, that's fine. We love you the same, and we hope that you're blessed by the podcast and our talk. But if you are a believer, one thing we can rest on is knowing that no matter what happens or how bad it may seem, he is working. He will flip that thing around and make it to your benefit. You just don't see it yet. Hadn't happened yet.
No, absolutely.
Tammy brings up a good question, though, after.
For a reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tammy brings up a good question here that I want you guys to talk about, because this is awesome. How do you lead through service if you're leading someone that doesn't want to be led? Not just job related, but in life, in general. How do you lead somebody who doesn't want to be led?
You just have to. It's so on that one. To me, if they don't want to be led, you don't force it. You can't force them to, but you just have to show them the positive out of things, and eventually they're gonna stop. Like, hold up. And they're going to turn around and go to it.
I don't think you can force it. No, not that I don't think you can't force somebody to do something. You can't force a horse to the water and make him drink. You can't force him to drink. Right? But that doesn't mean you stop leading either. At the same time, whether they want to be led or not, you still have a position to fulfill. You have a goal to meet, so to speak. You have a place to get to, and you have to keep that light, and you have to keep the light in front of you, and keep walking by that light. And because if you let it get off to the side or you're behind you, you can't see where you're going anymore, and you can't let them pull that light off to the side or behind you to where you can't see where you was going in the first place either. So you have to stay focused on, yeah, that person might not want to be led. Eventually God might work that out. They might,
Mhm.
he might soften their heart,
Yeah.
and but at this point in time, it might not be happening, but I'm still going to do what I was put in place to do, and that's lead. I'm still going to lead, whether they follow or not. I can't make them follow, but what I can do is lead. So you cannot lead a person that doesn't want to be led, but you can still lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Does that make sense?
Oh, it does make sense. And I want to say something to you that I just literally, I'm just like, man, I think this is maybe even from God, just dropped in my head. But not everyone wants to be led. But name me one person that you've ever met that doesn't want to be loved.
Yes.
Name one person. You can't find one. We have an innate, it's in our biology. We have a natural desire to be loved. And one thing that I have found is that in loving people and showing them that you care will flip that around to where you're leading them and they don't even know it. They don't even realize that you are leading them and taking them down a path because they're so enamored with the fact that you show care, concern, compassion, and true love for them. And I'm not talking a sexual love or anything. I'm talking about a true desire for their benefit, their well-being. You go out of your way for them. And when you do those things, you will find that people will tend to naturally want to follow you because of what you provide that they need. That's real love. That's the service side of what we're talking about, right? Leading through service.
Absolutely.
Serving people shows that you love them, that you care about them.
Teenage kids don't want to be led.
No.
But you love them.
But they want to be led.
But you love them and you keep showing them. You press every day, every week. And eventually, I'll tell you today, I sit back and I'm like, man, now I know why my mom did that.
Yep.
Or, man, I know why. It all comes together.
Right?
Yeah. Rick's 100% right.
As a teenager, no, I did not want to be led. I'll do it myself.
But you want to be loved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want her to love me.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. No matter what you say. And you could sit here and say, I don't want to be. I don't care nothing about love. Yeah, you do. Everybody does. We all do. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel wanted and needed and just loved.
And one thing I will say about people like that too, I don't mean to cut you off, is that
no.
Think about the people that give you the most kickback if you are trying to lead them. And I mean true leadership. You care about them, you're trying, but they're kicking against it. They're generally people who have rough histories in their past from people who they probably did rely on and trust, and then they burned them. Or they've got such low self-esteem, they don't even know how to love themselves. So you have to teach them how to even love themselves by carrying through those things and sticking with them and pushing through those hard times. Sure, they're going to kick you. Sure, they're going to kick back. Sure, they're going to fight. But you stay with them and show them that I am going to be a constant in your life. When you do that, eventually you might break through.
That brings me to some questions that I had, or a question that I had. A question that I had as part of being a servant and a leader is what are some characteristics of a leader with a servant's heart? What are some characteristics of a leader with a servant's heart, do you think?
Characteristic, well, I mean, love being the main one that we've talked about over and over again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Love, care, compassion, consideration, empathy, sympathy. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. Anything that's not self-serving would be a positive characteristic of being a good leader.
Which was exactly what I was just getting ready to say, like selflessness.
Yeah.
I wrote down selflessness is a huge part, a huge characteristic as being a good leader.
Yeah. If you look at somebody else and you say, okay, so for instance, we're all three in leadership on our jobs. If we look at any one of our guys and say, you know what, I want to see him do good so that it makes me look good to my superior, that's the wrong attitude.
wrong. Yeah.
That's the wrong attitude to have. I want to see
Yeah.
somebody on my job do good so that I can turn around and use that and say, hey, look, I'm such a good leader that they did this. That's the wrong attitude. What a real good leader does says, hey, you know what? Joe has been working really hard on the job. Tom, you need to give that guy a raise. He's been really putting forth the effort. As a matter of fact, I want to push for that so much that I know we have a budget. And instead of me getting my $1.50 raise this year, why don't you just give me $1 and give him the other 50 cents? Or anything like that.
Exactly.
And the key to that too is you don't go to Joe and say, hey, Joe, you know what I did? Once again, it's not about puffing you up. You don't go to Joe and say, hey, Joe, hey, I talked to Tom, man, got you an extra 50 cents, man. It took it even from mine, to make sure that you got that. No, you just go to Joe and say, hey, Joe, you're doing a great job, buddy. You deserve every bit of that 50 cents or whatever else you got. Definitely deserve it. Keep up the good work. I notice it. That's all you got to say.
Yeah. Not expecting nothing in return.
100%. Yeah. Don't expect nothing.
Yeah. And patience.
Oh yeah, patience.
You got patience because we're not all alike. We don't all walk at the same speed. We don't all take in things at the same pace, and we don't all things don't register with each one of us, in the same speed as everybody else. We all have our own speeds and how we learn things and how things come to us and how we grow in things, and how fast we grow in things. So, having patience with somebody, just because you can't get mad at somebody just because they're not doing something as quick as you think that they should be doing it because you could do it that quick. But you're your own person. You're a whole different person than they are. They have their way of doing something. You have your way of doing something. It's okay to try to teach them your way of doing some things, but they have their own speed. They have their own speed of how quick they learn and things too. So patience is I think patience is a big key too to having any of the rest of it. I believe love should be overall, but I think you have to have patience to have a lot of the rest of it. Besides selflessness, selflessness that should come with no question. There should be no question of that. You shouldn't want anything in return for just being kind and showing love and compassion to somebody.
Right. Well, Kaylee has a comment, and we've asked her to kind of give an example of that. I want to be sure I'm understanding her comment. But Aisha also says, and I think this is going back to when we were talking about God and things happening in our life, is she said, if his will is to let all these bad things happen in our life, then what's the point? There's so much I could say on that, but
he doesn't let anything bad happen in your life. You choose the path that you take.
That's okay. That's kind of where I was going to go.
I actually disagree with that, but go ahead. That's good for us to go ahead.
Yeah,
you know right from
where I
wrong.
was going to go.
So if these bad things keep happening, I end up in jail. I get out. My house gets robbed the next day. Then my buddy comes and breaks my car, that one's a bad one. But I have to know to change my environment if things continue to help. If things keep getting worse and worse in my life, I can't keep blaming him.
Well, on that same note, you don't have to blame him. And you're right. We do have choice. We have the liberty of choice to make decisions for ourselves. So we do get ourselves in some things. But on the other note, I will have to go against you a little bit there because not all things that happen to us are from God or does God put on us. But God will let you walk through fires. But he's beside you the whole time. But he will let you walk through fires and trials. And the point of those things is for you to grow stronger.
Yes.
For him to grow you stronger because God goes before us. He knows what lies ahead of us before we get there. So he knows how strong you're going to need to be, or what your strength, where your strengths need to be, and what they need to be in for you to surpass that once you get to it. So if something, there's things we can't, because we don't choose to have cancer. We don't choose a lot of bad things that happen. Let's be real. We don't choose a lot of things that bad happen in our life. But God knows that we need strength through those things for what lies ahead of us. So he will allow us to go through those things. Yes, it doesn't sound appealing, and I get that. I get that for anybody out there that doesn't believe in God, or that does believe in God and doesn't have a great understanding. I don't have like the best understanding, but there are some things that I do understand, because I'll explain. I'll tell you, when my mother passed away, it that ate at me, and I wasn't in church at that time. I knew God though. I was brought up. I was brought up in it. I wasn't always living it, but I was brought up in it, so I knew God and knew His Word, and everything like that. Had been baptized as a kid and all that, but I was angry. I was angry at God. I was so angry at God, and just to talk about it now, kind of I can feel the anger that I had at that time still. I was so mad. Why? Why her? She had never done nothing. She was a servant of God's. She had a servant's heart. If anybody knew my mother, she had a servant's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Her neighbors were at dinner at her house every night. Every night. My mother, when she cooked for the neighborhood. She didn't just cook for her household. She cooked for the neighborhood, and she'd give you the shirt off her back. That's it. She'd give you the last can of beans out of her pantry. That's how much of a servant's heart she had, and she's had that all my life, all my life. So I was so upset with God. Why? Why did you take her? Why couldn't she come out? Why couldn't you do something and she come out of this? Why would you do that? That's one of those things, but you can't, at the same time, I've also come far enough with God in my relationship with God to understand that, it's not a question of why I put you through those things, because I didn't put you through those things. I let you walk through those things because there's a point in your life that's coming, that's in front of you, that you know nothing about, where you need that strength through that. You've got to be strong. If not for yourself, it's going to be for somebody else. It's going to be for your brother, for your sister, for your neighbor, or for somebody. But you need that strength at some point in your life here down the road that's going to get you through whatever it is that you're coming up on. Because I've been there, I know, and I can hear God telling me that, Yeah, I can hear Him saying, you need that, you need that strength. I've been there. I am there. You're not here yet. I'm there. I know what you need. So just walk with me. Just bear with me. And that's just, in my opinion, that's one of those. God doesn't put everything on you, but He does. He does let you walk through some bad situations.
Yeah, He let stuff happen. Yeah, He definitely let stuff happen. And I'll say, this is why I say I disagree. I just think of Job. What did Job do wrong?
100%.
Nothing.
Nothing.
The devil actually went
through all of it.
Yeah, the devil went to God and told him that Job serves you for naught, which simply means he only serves you because you give him stuff. You bless him and bless him and bless him, and he blesses you. But the only reason he blesses you is because you keep blessing him with stuff. I bet you if you stop doing that, he'll stop blessing you. He'll stop praising you, worshiping you, whatever. And if you want to read it, go read the book of Job and the Bible. I'm telling it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Go read it. Took everything from Job. He had nothing left. Not even his wife. She didn't die. She just turned her back on him and said, curse God and die. I mean, she didn't support him. She even turned on him. He lost all his kids, lost all his cattle, all his money, lost his home. He lost everything and still blessed God. And then in doing that, God gave him everything back sevenfold. He had 7 times as many kids, 7 times as many cattle, 7 times the size of home, 7 times the amount of land, 7 times, I mean, you name it. He had everything multiplied as blessings to him, and he didn't deserve any of it.
No.
There are times when things happen in our lives, and Tommy, you alluded to this, and it's really the name of what we have, right? It's really who we are, 3 men in the fire. The fires are not meant to consume or destroy you. They're meant to refine you. When you see gold, the gold chains that you see people wearing stuff, when you find gold in the real world, it doesn't look like that. It's dirty.
No.
It's mixed with other minerals and rock and dirt and soil and all kinds of stuff. It has to go through a process to where it is put into a fire that melts everything. The bad stuff rises, and then you scrape it off, and then you burn it some more, and then more comes up. It looks like it's good. It looks like it's done, but it's not. You got to keep burning it. There are things in our lives, to your comment, Aisha, there are things in all of our lives that God sees that we can do better. Heck, we even know we can do it better, but it takes going through some things in order to get there. So if you or anybody else is going through something in your life and you feel like all these bad things are hitting me, I'm telling you, it is not to destroy you, even if it seems like it. It's really there you may not see it, but it's there to be a blessing eventually, and it will be. For instance, Tommy losing his mom. How many people can you talk to now that you could have never talked to before about losing a parent? How many people can you help that are struggling?
Many, and I've been and have been asked to do this.
Yeah,
I have been asked to do that for other people because they know what I've been through. So and they come to me. So and it's hard. It's still don't get me wrong. It's still hard to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And to replay it, but God gives you peace. God will give you peace through that, and in that same time frame, you can help somebody else with what you're saying. You're giving somebody else the peace that God has given you, peace beyond all understanding.
Yeah,
God gives you through any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this too. When that happened, and when my relationship with God got better, and I applied myself to that. I stopped asking God. I stopped praying and stopped asking God. God, please take these things away from me. Don't please. Whatever I'm going through, please take that away. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to deal with that. Instead of asking God to take those things away anymore, my prayer to God now is, God, don't take these things away. God, give me the strength I need to get through these things. Give me the strength I need to get through them, because whatever I'm going to face that's ahead of me, my Goliath, I need that strength to face him.
Yeah.
I need that strength to take that Goliath out, because I need that sword. Without that sword, I'm no good.
Right. Yeah.
I need, so God, don't take these things away from me, but give me the strength to get through these things.
Yeah.
And come out on the other side victorious.
Absolutely. I got a question real quick for Joe, just to wrap this up, and then I want to get to Kaylee's before we run out of time here. But Joe, let me ask you a question, because I know you're in the military. You've had to shoot a weapon before, right? Probably part of basic. Were you good when you first shot your weapon?
No.
How did you know?
Because you shot him.
Exactly. So how do we know, back to Aisha's comment, how do we know what we can handle if we never go through anything?
Because
How do-
God only is going to put on you what you can handle.
Absolutely. How do we know what we need to work on if we don't go through something? How do I know that I'm an impatient person if I'm not put in a situation where my patience is tested?
That's my patience.
How do I know that I'm not a loving person when I'm put in a situation where I have to love somebody? You know, those are things that we go through, and those are just things that we have to think about. You don't realize it. So when God allows things, I don't say God puts us through things. God allows things to happen, because I will tell you, his word says that every good and perfect gift comes from above. Okay. It does not, good and perfect gifts come from him. But when bad things happen, he didn't do it. He just allowed it to happen. And the only reason why he allowed it to happen is because he knows more about you than you know about you. And he knows you're strong enough to make it through it. So to anybody listening to that, whatever you're going through in life, whatever you're struggling with, you have everything in you to push through it. If it came your way, it's because that you're stronger than you even think that you are, and you can make it through. Kaylee did mention a little bit ago, and I want to get to it. She said it's so hard to keep leading when the answers aren't immediate. She struggles with this one a lot, she says. And she gave an example about being in a situation for 10 years and trying to love and move on and lead someone who doesn't want anything to do with any of it. That can be pretty frustrating. What do you guys think about that one? What should she do?
Said earlier, you just keep loving. Love will lead them to what you're wanting them to do. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be for another 20 years, but eventually it will happen.
100%.
You just got to keep love in the situation.
Absolutely. That's key. That's number one.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Like I said earlier, don't stop leading. Don't stop where you're at because they stopped right here. Don't stop with them. You got to keep moving. You got to keep pushing yourself. You're not only leading them, you're leading yourself as well.
Yes, good point.
So you've got to walk in that same light that you're trying to get them to walk through. Because if you stop because they stopped, you're not at that point. You're no longer a leader. You're no longer leading them. You're just with them.
You're following them, or you're with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't go into something. And this is part of it. So this is part of the selflessness. Don't go into something expecting answers from God on something right then. You can expect answers from God, but expect them in His time, and His will be done. Let His will be done. It's Thy will, not my will, but it's Thy will. And so we have to understand that we have to want His will to be done. And we need to know that we can't get immediate answers because it's a process. Everything is a process. There's a process to it. So it's from one step. It goes from one step to the next. You do things, step by step, and then nothing in Rome. I said this earlier, right? Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right. Yeah.
There's a process to that. So there wasn't an immediate Rome. It was built. It was built over time. It was built. So you have to and I know where she's going with it. And respect it and love her to death. I know it's been 10 years. And here's the honest truth. We might not see it happen in our time. We might not see those things come to pass or happen in our time. But if we believe, if we lead with love, we lead with our heart, and we stay leading, and we don't stop and dwell on things and become just with somebody or following somebody. If we lead them, we stay. That means we're staying ahead of them. So they're gonna stay behind us. When you're a leader, you're staying ahead of somebody. God went before us. He's our leader. He went before us. That's where when we're put in the place of leadership, we go before everybody else. that's behind us, or that we're expecting to follow us. So if we stay ahead of them and stay on that path, we don't have to look back for them. They're going to be there. They're going to be there. They might be trickling along. They're a little slower than we are at that point, but they're going to be there. God's going to make sure that they're there. He don't want you to look back at them and try to figure out where they're at. You know, if you stay following him and you stay on that same narrow path and you follow that light, you stay leading, they're going to be there. You just keep your eyes on the prize. You keep your eyes on him and where you're supposed to be going.
Well, I want to throw in too, on top of that, is goes back to what we talked about earlier, right? The characteristics of a true leader. A true leader shouldn't be there to see results for themselves.
Yes.
The fact of being a leader and the whole purpose is to help others achieve. And we can't dictate when they want that success or when they want to see that next level for themselves. But true love as a leader says, I keep leading and I keep showing and I keep being there in spite of what they do. Because, I mean, really, Kaylee, I'll just say, it sounds like you're looking for a result. And naturally you should want that result, right? And I think we all want to see, when we're trying to lead or be an example for someone else, we want to see them take hold of it, right? I know as a Christian, I can speak for myself that when I first got saved, I was out, I wanted everybody saved, you know, and I wanted to tell everybody about how good God was, and not everybody received that, even though I wanted it. But I still have to continue to live and be a light to people, not because I want to see, I had to grow and learn this. I grew up and I realized it's not about what I want. Whether they want it or not, I should still love them and care about them. I don't have to agree with them always, but I still care about them as an individual. And I'm going to keep being me, and I'm going to keep doing what I know to do, because maybe one of these days it will click for them.
Yes.
And Aisha
Absolutely.
says, how can you love and lead someone who has done nothing but destroy you mentally? And I mean, you guys can elaborate on that if you want, but I'll say, Aisha, I think it's the same thing, right? It's not about what they can give you. It's about what you and how you live and how you lead reflects to them, you know? So sometimes, I'll say a lot of time, that means even when you know you're in the right, taking that lower stepping down a little bit and saying, you know what, I'm gonna let you feel like you're way up here and I'm down here, even though you know those roles are reversed. But it's not about you. It's not about you know how you feel. It's about helping to make sure that they get on the right path and then see themselves. And in you doing the right thing, a lot of times it becomes a mirror and they can see themselves and say, wow.
So you're saying that it's not about you, but mentally, like mental health?
Well,
it's destroying your mental health, and you're just supposed to keep pushing
no,
along.
No. I'm not saying you push them. You know, I'm not saying that you go out there and you put yourself in a bad situation. I'm saying that you still have to do what's right. You still have to be a light to them. You know, there's been plenty of times that, you know, I've been put in situations where people have done me wrong, said wrong, lied on me. I mean, I almost got fired from a job for somebody who lied on me about something I never did. And instead of going back out on the floor after talking to HR and thankfully saving my job, you know, I could have went out and been like, hey, you know, why would you do that? And I could have just went off on it, but I didn't. I mean, that impacted my family. Instead, I went out there and I just thought about it. I prayed. I asked HR, said, hey, can I have about 10 or 15 minutes to myself for a minute? Let me get my composure, and then I'll go back on the floor. And I went out to my car and I prayed. I said, God, you know, I didn't do that. I didn't say that. I wasn't a part of that. I don't know where that came from. Came out of left field. I was like, but for whatever reason, you have me in this situation. Help me, you know? And really what he told me was I just simply needed to just continue to be who I was. And that's what I did. And it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. It's not easy, you know, going and talking to somebody. Now, I didn't become best friends with them. It wasn't like I was like, hey, let's go hang out. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in the times that you had, you know, that I had to be in that situation with that individual, I didn't treat them no different than anybody else. I acted like it never happened. And nothing ever came up again, thankfully, but I'm not saying put yourself in a bad situation. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, you have to know who you are. And misery loves company. There's a lot of people that want to see you miserable because they're miserable, but you can't let their misery break you down.
I kind of agree with what Tammy and Kay are saying. Love at a distance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes it's better that way.
100%.
Well, sometimes you have to not totally wash your hands of somebody, but you have to wash yourself. You want to wash your hands of a situation, not the person, but the situation.
Yes.
So, yes, you don't just stay in that situation, but you still love them, but you still move yourself ahead. And it's up to them. Do they want to follow you? Do they want to be a part of that goodness, or do they want to stay dwelling in their situation? Because they could dwell in and pull you down if you let them. But you have to be the one. You have to be the one up here to say, that's not going to be me. I'm pushing in this direction, and you're going to come with me. And if not, you're going to stay there, and I'm going to love you still, but I'm going to love you from up here over here. And I'm not going to love you back there. I'm not going to love you back there standing beside you. I'm going to love you from up here because I'm going to move forward. So, in that situation, yes, it's right. And in the flesh, it's so eerie to think that you should love somebody that's done something so bad to you and pushed you in the wrong direction and done these things. But in the heart, you know that it's right. You know that it's right. Jesus still loved Judas when he knew that he was going to turn him over.
Yep.
He knew that he was going to give him up to be crucified. He still loved Judas and still broke bread with that man. We have, and we are supposed to be striving to be that same, to be like him. So yes, we still have to push forward. We still have to love those people. We don't have to love the situation or like the situation, but we have to love those people and push forward. Yes.
So kind of on what Asia was saying, and then I'll let you guys have it back.
Well, we'll probably have to cut after you say yours. We'll comment on that, and then we'll be done for today.
I have a lot of people in my life that I love at a distance. Instead of calling them 5 times a week, I call them twice a week. This to me is I'm still leading them. I don't let them put negativity. Myself as a person, I control where the conversations go. If it's going to be negative, if it's going to be putting people down, if it's going to be, why it just complete garbage on, my life and I'm wrong and all that. I'm still going to call in. I'm still going to check on the person, but I'm going to make sure that I lead the conversation, that I'm still leading them, that showing them I love them and showing them that I care. But as a leader, you control that situation with the negative person.
Yeah, you have to shut the negativity off. Yes, absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with it. No, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, you can't.
And that will show them eventually. Okay.
Yeah, you can't let somebody have control with their negativity. When you're trying to be a leader, you can't let that happen. You have to shut that negativity down. You have to be bold and stand and say, I'm not, that's not, I don't care about that person. I don't care about that situation. That's not what we're talking about. I called you because I love you and I want to talk to you about this. I don't want to hear about this person doing that to this person. That's not part of our conversation, and that's not part of what my ears need to hear. So you need to keep that to yourself. And my advice to you on that is I wouldn't be listening to what that other person did because that's not part of your life.
And you may not see it in the situation. At the time, you may not see it, but you're still leading them and you're still loving them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I was actually even going to say there's a common misconception too, and I want to clarify this since we're at the end here. You're not called to lead everybody, right? Okay, if that were the case, you would only need one shepherd for every sheep in the world. There's multiple shepherds over different flocks, okay? And I'm not talking from a pastoring perspective. I'm not talking about real shepherd. I'm just talking about there are sometimes people in your life that are put there for you to lead. There are people that are put there to test you. There's people that are put there to bless you. And you just have to identify, okay, your job is identifying those people. And sometimes you got to have people that are going to test you, but it doesn't mean that you have to get out of your character, right? You can respectfully and in a very strong leadership way show them that this is a great way to disengage by saying, you know, I would love to have a further relationship with you. That's my desire, but I don't think that you, based on what you showed me or how you treat me or the way you talk to me or whatever, shows me that you want that same thing. Probably best that we just, you know, maintain a little bit of distance. I'm here for you. If you ever need me to talk, I'm here for you. If you want a shoulder to lean on, I'm here for you. But if you're going to love me by beating me down, that's not real love. And that's not a kind of relationship I want to have. And that's okay to say.
Yes.
It is okay to say that. I mean,
Yes, it is.
Tommy, you brought up a great point. Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him, and he still had supper with him. But you know what Jesus also did? He told him in advance, I know that one of you is going to betray me tonight. And that one knew who he was. He was already in talks with him. He already knew who he was. So Jesus let him know, I know, but he didn't put him on blast in front of everybody. He could have called out Judas. He didn't put him on blast in front. That's how he showed the real love and leadership. He showed real love and leadership to Judas, who betrayed him, by saying, I know that one of you is going to betray me. And he still had supper with him. And he still loved him. He still prayed for him. That's why Judas had so much guilt that he went and hung himself when Jesus was crucified.
And he didn't just refute or deny him once. Wasn't it 3 times?
No, that was Peter. That was Peter who denied him 3 times.
I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, Judas betrayed him in kissing him, turning him over. And yeah, he basically conspired with the Pharisees and the priests to find a way to get him. I mean, they sent him through a court at night, which was illegal at the time. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So
for 30 pieces of silver.
Yeah, 30 pieces. It wasn't even enough to buy the land that he killed himself on. Just it equates to $20 in today's day and age, if that means anything to you. He sold him out for next to nothing. And it's, you know, so when it comes to somebody like that, Jesus needed a Judas. Because without Judas, he'd have never went to the cross and we wouldn't receive the blessing from it. But he still loved Judas. He still cared about Judas. And he separated himself and even let Judas separate himself. But he still loved him, even at a distance. And it's okay to do that. So, Aisha, if you're going, I don't know if you asked that question because you're going through something, or if you just know somebody or anybody else that's listening to that. I hope that you realize that even if people are put there in your life or they're in your life, that you at least think about, are they here to bless me? Are they here to test me? Which one of those are they going to be? And it's okay to know if they're going to test you. Find out what it is, you know, ask somebody, seek God, just thinking it within yourself. What is this person and the way that they come at me here to teach me?
I love the point that you made about Jesus didn't put Judas on blast in front of nobody. He just let it be known that I know who it is. You know, I know who it is. You know, and he still had supper with him. You don't have to take everything that's happening to you and take it to the world and gossip to the world and then let everybody know who it is. You don't have to do that. You just have to deal with that situation, you know, within yourself, you know, and you know, you can let them know, you know, you can let it be known. I know who it is. I don't have to call you out or point you out. I know who it is.
Right.
And that alone is, if when somebody's guilty, that will eat you up. I mean, you talk about conviction, that draws all conviction to you, and it will just eat at you. Yeah, trust me, it will.
100%. Well, I hope that something has been said that has blessed somebody, that you've gotten something out of this. This is a deep topic. As you can tell, we went over a few minutes here, but it was just such good conversation and such good engagement that I didn't want to cut us off right at the hour, but we're about 13 minutes past our hour here. So we're going to go ahead and cut it. tonight. I do want to say that we come up with topics and things that we think that maybe would be a blessing to you all, but we also want to hear from you. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. Go to our website, our Facebook. We do want to make an announcement that we are live on a lot of different podcast softwares now. So you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on iHeartRadio, you can find us on Podchasers, you can find us on Podcast Addict, and many more. You can get all that information on our Facebook. We're going to be updating our website as well, where you can find us at those places. So feel free to listen to the episodes again, share them with someone, whatever it may be. But I hope something that was said, and us with our topic tonight, talking about leading through service, the true measure of a man and a woman. So God bless you all. Hope you all have a great night. And
thank you, Asia, Tammy, and Kaylee, for stepping up and being part of this and interacting with us on this. Great questions. Love the questions. Love putting my mind, at work when it comes to those things. So we appreciate you guys so much. You're a blessing to us. And we love you. Thank you for being here.
Peace.
All right. We love you all from 3 Men in the Fire. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll catch you next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.